I started writing as a teen, and now I am 43. How did that happen? I don't know. Time is weird, and as many times as I heard people say it happens before you know it, boy, does it. I started writing because it was hard for me to really process the world and communicate, and writing was a way for me to do that, and it still is a way for me to do that. Understanding the world through stories is just works for me. There are people in my family who are like, oh, well, but fiction didn't really happen. Why would you want to read about something that didn't really happen? And to me, it's almost more real. Fiction allows me this opportunity to really explore ideas and themes and things I'm coping with or struggling with in life. Even though I write love stories, I was about to say happy love stories. I mean, they're happily ever afters, but there is some angst, maybe a lot of angst. My very first book was definitely like a self-insert, and apparently I did self-insert wrong because you're supposed to like make yourself awesome, I guess. But that was like an exploration of my deepest, darkest secret and demons and fears, and it was very intense to write. I would say it's less of a romance than a coming of age, and I don't even really recommend it to people anymore. It came out in 2009. I started writing it in 1998. Things have changed since then for myself and for the world. I mean, I can't say that consent wasn't a thing then, but the understanding of it was much less nuanced. So there's some issues in that book, and I look back at that character Elizabeth and I go, she has not grown, and I have. However, that book did bring the world Stuart Masterson, who is my most popular character ever. I wrote him as my ideal guy as a teenager, and apparently he's a lot of people's ideal guy. He makes a good book boyfriend, and I'm writing more stories about just him and leaving Elizabeth mostly out of it. But since then, every book that I've written has included some aspect of my experiences and thoughts and grappling with something in the world. But I think as you mature as a writer, they come in small ways, in different places and different characters, and that's kind of what writing what you know is. So, like, I was gonna show you these books as I mentioned them, so let me grab them from over here. Pay no attention to this craziness. Nope. What? I don't even have the one that I wanted. All right, I'm cutting this part out. Okay, so like in Thawing an Ice Heart, Carly struggles with insomnia and not being able to sleep after there was a traumatic incident that changed things while she was asleep, and she woke up to the world being different. And that happened to me in a subtle way. My college boyfriend, I took him to the ER, and then we were there like all night. And so when we finally got back, I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up to him being like, oh, actually everything is terrible again, I'm going back. And it was really difficult and scary. And since then, I don't have it every night, but I have a lot of nights where I can't sleep because of that. And so I wrote that into Carly's experience with her brother. And then this is the story of her brother saving his soulmate. Samantha escaped from a cult. I grew up in a cult, not one that I had to escape from in quite such a dramatic fashion, but all of her struggles to integrate into like the modern world are based completely on my experiences. There's more. I've written several books. I really enjoyed doing Hearts Unmasked. This is kind of more of a self-insert of who I am today, more than who Elizabeth was. Kind of. Like, she's autistic, and I kind of enjoyed exploring some of the issues that I've had with social situations and hyperfixation and special interests and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is the original book, new cover, original book from quite a while ago, 16 years ago now. So I'm working on a new book now, Waiting to Break, and it is also exploring some of these themes that I am reflecting on in life now that I'm middle-aged, having what one might call a midlife crisis. I did go this past April to a mental hospital. I was inpatient on the psych ward for 2 weeks, and then I did a partial program, changed medications. Like I'm having some mental health struggles that I've always had, but they really came to a head. And I think I'm beginning to grapple with the happily ever after doesn't last all the way to the end at times. That life continues to be complicated and difficult, and sometimes at the end you lose your home and your independence and maybe even the love of your life. And I have a wonderful husband, absolutely, 13 years of marriage, and the honeymoon is still going. But this new book has more later in life themes. It takes place in a nursing home. And the main male character is somebody who is there because of his disabilities, and his family is not stepping up to take care of him. That's not a good way to put it, but like for most people, like you wouldn't have necessarily the resources to, but his family does and are not. But anyway, it's a fiction. But there's also those other characters of the nursing home residents, these older people who are reflecting on their lives and the nature of growing older and seeing death approaching and losing what they once had and not being seen in the same way now that they're older, and all of those kind of things. There's also the female main character. This is kind of an age gap one. She is approaching 30 and really struggling with, I haven't accomplished what I thought I would. I had to drop out of college because of these other circumstances, and my friends are like further along. Like there's this path, there's this road, and I'm not on it anymore. And what happened, and how do I get back? And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with as they hit 30. It's such a common experience, and I'm exploring it now in this fiction. But despite these complex themes, it is still a love story at the heart, and a powerful love story with, of course, a happily ever after, I promise. And I mean, what is there left to fear when you met at a nursing home? Okay, there's nothing. There's nothing you can't overcome from that. So the first 2 chapters are available now on my website, ruthmadisonbooks.com. And you can read those, see if you like them. There's a pre-order for the book available if you do, and it's going to come out at the end of August, so coming up pretty soon. And I am, really enjoying continuing years and years later, just writing through experiences and life, and fiction allows me a kind of a safe avenue to do that. So I would love to hear if you relate to any of that or what you think. And it's great to meet you. I'm Ruth.